Hello, beautiful people. It's so good to have you here on my next installment of Conscious Conversations with Jane Kisnica. Is it Kisnica? I've just forgotten of the fuck.
We just went through this. It's close enough. It's Kisnica, so nearly there. Nearly
Like
there.
my short-term memory is clearly really bad. And before we started recording, I was like, I'm so proud of my memory. So we're not going to start this again just because I'm human and like this is quite a funny
Fine.
part of the
That's
conversation.
that's absolutely fine. It's a hard one to pronounce, so I'm not getting offended at all.
Oh gosh, so funny. Apologies and thank you so much for the correction. That creates laughs at the start of the conversation. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the conversation and what it brings, to be completely honest with you. So me and Jane met on LinkedIn not long ago, a couple of months ago, and
Mm.
Jane has recently just hit 10,000 followers on LinkedIn organically, which is absolutely fantastic. She has amassed that community within her platform over the last 9 to 10 months since January. And she's just recently become a freelancer and started her own online business. And she's been doing that for nearly a month now, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're going to be covering a little bit about that and the transition, and also talking about mental health and wellness, because there's been a lot of sort of changes and upgrades, should we say, since the transition from employment to freelancing already for Jane. So yeah, like Jane's a very, very big mental health advocate, as am I. So I'm sure that this conversation is going to be absolutely fantastic. Jane's also from Latvia as well, and she moved to the UK in 2009. So yeah, like I'm really, really excited for you to be here, Jane. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. I'd love to hear more from you about your story, from wherever you want to start and wherever you want to go, however you feel. I'm really, really interested about you, and I'm really excited to learn more.
Well, thanks for having me, first of all. It was a very nice introduction. Thank you. Oh, my story. I don't even know where to begin. It's a long one. But yeah, I moved to the UK. So I'm originally from Latvia. I moved to the UK back in 2009. Um, Basically just wanted a better life. Always knew that I didn't really fit quite well with people back at home. And I traveled a lot when I was a kid with my parents. My dad had a job that kind of took him all over Europe. So he always took me and my mum with him. So I kind of saw how other people lived. And then I was like, you know what, England, London's big. There's a lot of opportunity. I can speak English, that's like the best place to go. And I also had a friend here, so it wasn't as scary to finish high school and then kind of move to a country. I've been to the UK, I've been to London, I've never obviously lived abroad. So that kind of helped a little bit to have someone here. And I finished high school and had my graduation. 7 days later, I was on a plane with a suitcase of clothes and £200 in my pocket to start a new life in the UK. Maybe it was 300. I can't remember. It was like a couple of £100, literally. It was nothing. And then I moved to the UK. In the beginning, I was like, oh, I want to study. Then I realized that studying isn't really for me because I want to make money. I don't want someone telling me what to do and for me to pay them to tell me what to do. I was more in tune with, okay, you tell me what to do, you pay me for it. So I got a job as a not a waitress, was a waitress? No, bartender in a pub in London. And then sort of from there, just done loads of different jobs, from bartending to sales to receptionist to personal assistant. I've been a personal trainer. I've done modeling. I've done a lot of different things. And then sort of back in 2017, I lived in Thailand for a bit as well. So I came back from Thailand back in 2017. There was a relationship in Thailand, didn't work, moved back. It's always a guy, isn't there? So I moved back and I was kind of, okay, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I'm 25. do I want to do? And the first thought was, okay, I can be quite organized. I like getting shit done. I could, and I've done a bit of PA while I worked in Thailand, and a bit of like sort of office assistant type of role when I was out there as well. So I was like, I'm quite good at this stuff. Maybe I can move into like the corporate world, do reception, and then move up to personal assistant and all that. So that was sort of my plan when I moved back. And I started working for a recruitment company in central London, and the boss there, the managing director, he was quite good at developing people within the business. So all the managers were promoted internally. No one was like hired. I think this year was the first year when they actually hired someone in like a director's position from the outside because of how fast the business is growing. So I've always had a creative side. I've always loved photography, social media, and things like that. So I started getting involved with the marketing manager and helping her out. And then they were like, oh, do you want to go on some design courses and learn how to use InDesign and, Illustrate and things like that? And you can help the marketing manager. And hi, kitty.
But he comes running along meowing, so it's like I have to pick him up.
No, that's fine. That's understandable. And
now he's off.
That's cats for you. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? It's like they were going to pay for me to go on these courses. It didn't technically have to be at work. I got to go and spend a day somewhere else. So I was like, great, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then I started taking these courses, and they realized that I'm quite good at design, so they kind of pushed that quite a bit while I was still in reception. Just in my free time, because there's always downtime in any job. So when I had downtime, I would like do some design stuff, create some presentations and things like that. And then the marketing manager left, and it was kind of at the same time where the way the business was operating was changing. They didn't really need a receptionist anymore, so my role was basically redundant. So the boss was like, okay, the role won't exist next month. Like we're scratching it, but the marketing manager has left. You have done good work for her so far, and I've liked what you've done. So I want to see if you want to take her role, and I'll give you like yeah. I was just like, what? I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I know how to use social media and I have some understanding of these things, but like I've never done marketing and like design full time for a business. But I was like, and he was like, we'll do a 6-month trial, see how it works, see if you like the role, see if we can work together. And then at the end of 6 months, we either extend it as a full-time contract, or I give you plenty of notice. If it's not working, then you can sort of think what you want to do next.
Wow.
It's like, you know what? Why not? Like, it's 6 months. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's an experience. I would have learned something. Nearly 4 years later, I was still there. I was still working. Like, I was doing all the marketing, all the design, like running the whole department. And then COVID came. I didn't mind the fact that we were sort of cooped up inside, because I'm a massive introvert, so I don't mind being on my own. I'm perfectly happy. I cannot speak to people for weeks on end, and I'm absolutely fine. So for me, it was kind of like, I love this, but I can't go to the gym, so I kind of also hate this. So it was like a mix of both. But then I started thinking about my work and what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy. Just a lot of reflections. Obviously, I think we all went through that, didn't we? Because we just had so much time sitting around and not doing anything. And I started realizing that, first of all, I'm missing my freedom that I had. Because when I lived in Thailand, I was there for about 3 years. I was a freelancer, basically. I was doing freelance modeling, and then I was doing a few other bits, but I was pretty much my own boss, more or less. And I was like, I kind of miss that. And I miss Asia, and I miss traveling, and I'm not really an office person. I hate getting up at 5 a.m. and catching the train and, all that horrible rat race stuff. It really just affects my mood, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking about, oh, okay, so what could I do? What do I want to do? Then I realized that I don't actually like the marketing side of my job.
Okay.
But I realized that when I have to do all the marketing stuff, I'm like, I hate it. I'm bored, but when I'm doing design, I'm getting really excited, and I'm just like, it brings me a lot of joy.
Okay.
So I started exploring the design side of things a bit more, just taking a bit more courses and training on my own time. And then I was like, I wonder if I could do this full time. Because kind of, I have someone who pays me a full time, because I kind of had structured the role by the end of it that I mostly just did design, and the marketing was just sort of like a like a side thought. So I was like, if someone's paying me full-time salary for this, surely I can do this for myself. Like, there's 8 billion people on earth. There's enough out there. I only need maybe 5-6 clients a month.
Yeah.
Survive, and that's out of
That's
8
it.
billion people. And
Well,
especially
and
with
then like with the 8 billion, the fact that you're using social media as well, like 4.48 billion people are using social media. You're building your personal brand. Fair's not everyone's going to like you and the way you approach it. But if 1% of people like you, that's 480,000 people that will like you, and you only need 5 people a month. It's just
exactly. And some of those people, they will also be, because of what I do, some of those people also will turn into returning customers. So it's not going to be just a one-off. So so kind of was thinking about that, but then obviously mindsets, being told your whole life you can't do it, you only the special people get to do it, and blah blah blah, and the whole personal brand building. And I was just like,
who's going to listen to me, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like who cares about what I have to say? Who's going to pay me for my work? I'm not that good. So the whole imposter syndrome and everything. So I dealt with that for a while. And then when things started opening up again, and I started doing the whole traveling into the office again, I was like, fuck, I hate this. Oh my God, how much I hate getting on the train, and the people, and the whole thing was just driving me insane. And then I got on a call with a coach. She's based in Bali actually as well. Krista. We worked together in Thailand actually. So I know her personally, and she's been like traveling the world and teaching people how to build their businesses online so they can do the same thing that she's doing. And she's extremely successful with what she does. So it's like, okay, she's done what I want to do. So she's the best person to speak with, because she's not just someone who says I've done it with photoshopped images, but I know her. I know that she's done it, right? So I booked in a call with her, and it was probably the 2 hours of the most life-changing call I've ever had.
Okay.
Because soon after that, we just went through mindset thing, like all my mindset stuff, and she kind of encouraged me, and we just talked and discussed things, and that really helped me sort of switch how I think about this whole thing, and about going freelance, about doing my own thing. And I was like, you know what, I could do this.
Look at you, you're doing it.
Yeah, like I'm still freaking out. I'm still like, every morning I wake up and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I just left a really stable, good job. What is happening?
That's the thing. That's what I've found has kept me alive, though. Like when I was in the corporate world, I was very much in the mindset of like, look for a job with a salary, with benefits, holiday pay, sick pay. I want to be safe. I want to be secure. And then I ended up starting my business out of desperation. And then a year after starting my online business, I got made redundant anyway. So like starting the online business at the time that I did was great because of the fallback. But then I realized that I wasn't even safe in the job that I was in, even though I was looking for this safety and security. And then when I took my business full time, like I've never felt so alive. Like, yes, it's like your results are based off your input, like your output is based on your input essentially. But then that's what has made me feel alive, in the sense of, okay, what do I get to do today? Like, who
Yeah.
do I get to connect with today? What am I building today? And it's just like, it really has allowed me to expand things and start to really think for myself rather than just be
Oh,
like over and over again.
yeah, absolutely. And that's where the mindset thing comes in, because we're conditioned that, you know, getting a job is safe. It's the right thing. You get a good job, you stay in it for years, you know, you work hard and you climb the little ladder and you get your 2% pay rise every year if you're lucky. And, you know, and you kind of feel like this is the thing to do. This is safe. This is good. But then when you actually think about, like, you can be made redundant at any moment. You can get fired. The business can shut down. The business can change the structure and you can again lose the job. You know, your income is dependent on someone else. Your promotion is dependent on someone else. How much you make, when you have time to take off, how much time. When you actually start thinking about how little you control when you work for someone else, it's like, wow, mind blown. You know? And Krista was the person who kind of helped me get through that block and get through that, like, switch that mindset and go, actually, yeah, this is not actually as safe as I think it is. Because even with COVID, you know, every day I was sitting there, I was like, shit, am I going to lose my job? Is the business going to go bankrupt? Like, they were doing all right, but obviously I could still see that things are shit, and the first few months were really hard. And I was like, if things don't pick up, one of the first people they're going to get rid of is me, because I'm technically, especially for a recruitment business on the books, I'm the person who costs a lot of money but makes no money. Obviously I do make the money because I do all the marketing, all the brochures, all the everything. I communicate with the outside world, but when you kind of look at the numbers, I don't bring actual physical numbers under my name like a recruiter does. So I was like, fuck, if this continues and things don't get better, I'll be out of a job. And what do I do then? You know, so that was another thing that made me realize that, yeah, working for someone else might seem safe, but it's not.
And even now, like, you speak about COVID, like, even now as we film this, like, inflation is at a crazy rise. Like, energy bills in the UK have gone up, what, like 54%. There's a recession.
Oh no, 100. It's been over 100% now.
100%. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, I feel for you so much. Like, I'm so sorry you're experiencing this. And then there's the recession. Like in Europe and the UK, like, they're being massively hit hard by the recession, and wages rising, most likely, not like in most places, not much, not to hit the inflation prices anyway. Whereas when you're in charge of your business, like now you're a freelancer, you're in charge of how much you charge. And at the end of the day, there's enough people in this world that people will pay your prices. And that's the beauty of owning your own business.
Absolutely. And it's also the fact that you don't have a cap on how much you can earn as well. Because the busier you get, the more you increase your prices, the more money you make. And then the more you build sort of your reputation and your presence and everything, the more you can also charge on top of that. So you have all these, the harder you work, the more you make and the better reputation you have. And on top of that, that means that you can charge even more money. When you work for someone else, that's not how that works. You have to probably work your ass off for, I don't know, years to prove yourself. And then you're going to get like a minuscule, you're going to go from, I don't know, a marketing manager to a marketing, I don't know, whatever. I don't even know what the levels are and what they mean in the corporate world. But you know, whatever the next step up is, you probably get like 3-4% pay increase. I know that I can double my salary probably in the next 6 months.
For sure. For sure. That you can double your salary in 6 months. That's crazy. It's not even a year. You can double your salary in 6 months. And then think, the more you grow, the more you grow. Oh, no, that's cool. Oh, I'm so glad that you didn't run out of power. the more you learn,
the thing just popped up and I was like, shit, I thought I plugged this in, but I hadn't like properly put it in. So, sorry.
Amazing. Perfect. I'm so glad you caught that. But the more you learn and the more you grow as well, it's like you've got that one source
Absolutely.
of income with what you're doing, and then you can expand and create different sources of income based on
Oh
what you're
yeah.
learning in like
Yeah.
making automated courses and selling certain things. And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of
Yeah,
online.
absolutely.
That's the beauty of
Yeah,
automation, which is what a lot of people
exactly.
are missing because they're just so caught up in this like bubble of job, I need to be safe. And it's like, in my opinion, the only safety that
Yeah.
we can create is the safety we create in our own bubble of what we create, not relying on
Yep.
other people and companies
Yeah.
that just deem us a number.
Yeah. Exactly. I absolutely agree. Like even with me going for I started my freelancing journey in January. So I was working full time for the business and then doing everything else on the side. The first few months on LinkedIn were like quiet crickets, and I was like, oh my God, I'm making a fool out of myself. No one gives a fuck about what I have to say or who I am. But then sort of it's
It
conditioning.
takes time.
Yeah. It takes time to sort of, and I went, you know what? No, I'm going to keep going because I made myself a promise over New Year's that I'm going to keep posting on LinkedIn 5 days a week, no matter what. There were some breaks here and there if I was ill or whatever, but overall, I'm going to be on there every day. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to comment. I'm going to reach out to people like just nonstop. And then the first few months were crickets, and then things started to pick up. The engagement started growing. I started building relationships with people, and then I had a few referrals for design work come in, and they're like, oh yeah, this person referred me to you. They've seen some of your work and they really like, and they said I should get in touch with you. And I look at the name and I'm like, I've never spoken to this person. Who is this? But this is great. And then it kind of like, the light bulb moment came on. I was like, oh my God, this is from the fact that I've been like posting on LinkedIn and I've been active, and people like, this works. Like this actually fucking works.
Mhm.
Um, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. And then about 6 months in, I think I gave my job around June, when I was
Yeah.
like, I have so much work on. I'm not sleeping. I'm working from like 6 a.m. till midnight, 1 a.m. every day because I have so much work on. I want to grow and I want to do more work, but I can't because obviously 9 hours of my day are taken up by my full-time job. So I was like, shit, I need like this, it's time. In the beginning, I thought maybe when I originally started this, my plan was that I maybe will be able to go freelance, maybe 18 months to 2 years into that. That's what sort of the time frame I was giving myself, about 2 years. And then I should be like comfortable enough, have enough reputation built and community and everything where I can take this next step and quit. And then suddenly 6 months later, things just sort of exploded, blew up, and I was like, okay, I need to leave my job now because I'm actually like,
Wow.
this is going really well. Um and yeah, and here we are. I gave my notice. I gave long notice because they had some big projects that needed to be finished, and I didn't want to leave them sort of just like in trouble. So I stayed and finished the project, and then from September I went fully freelance, and I'm already making more than I was at my full-time job, just doing my own thing. And I haven't even like pushed that hard. And um yeah, I haven't even pushed that hard on LinkedIn or anything. I just show up, I just post, I talk to people, and the work just comes. When I actually start properly pushing, and
Yep.
I need to like come up with a strategy and things like that, I don't have any of those. I'm just kind of just do my own thing. Whatever I feel like on the day. But I know that when I become even more focused and have a strategy and a proper plan in place, things are going to take off even more, and I'm going to make even more money. So yeah, it's just, yeah, I love being in control of my own sort of, I don't know where I was going with that, but I love being in control of my own sort of future and destiny. And it's amazing what just a bit of persistence and consistency when it comes to posting on LinkedIn and just engaging with people and just being out there, what it can do for you when you really sort of get stuck into it and don't give up. Like, it can really be life changing. And the thing with what I offer graphic design services. people will always need that, because the
Mhm.
more and more people are going online and building their own businesses online and remotely and whatever and wherever. And yes, you can learn how to use Canva and you can learn some basics, but you're never going to have the skill and the years of experience that I already have under my belt as a business owner, because you're not going to sit down and study Illustrator or Photoshop and spend 20, 30, 40, 100 hours on learning how to use these tools and how to design. And obviously the more you design, the more your eye improves and the better you become with placing things. Like, it's all, there's a lot of skill that goes into designing something, even just a simple poster or a social media post, and people will always need that skill. While internet exists, people will always need that skill. If apocalypse if apocalypse happens, then I'm fucked. There's no internet, there's no Wi-Fi, then I don't know.
To be honest with you, I think we're all fucked if an apocalypse happened. I don't think it's just going to be you.
Yeah, also that. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, but yeah, it's been good, and I can't wait to see what comes next, really.
Amazing. No, it's absolutely fantastic, and like I have to say, I'm very proud of you for staying consistent, especially when there was crickets and your ego, your mind was probably like, this is pointless. Why are you doing this? Nothing's happening.
God, yeah.
Because especially at the start, when we're building our brand and when we're getting ourselves out there, like it does take time and effort, and it is like a daily consistent practice. It's just like going to the gym. Like if you want to get a six-pack, like you can't expect to get a six-pack within a month. It's just not going to happen. So you have to be doing certain things. So yeah, the fact that you've amassed like over 10,000 followers in the space of 9 to 10 months, and now you're on double your income of what you was in your job, it just shows how powerful showing up for yourself online and being intentional about building a brand, and also going after what it is that you truly want in life. Because the fact that you put that out into the universe, like, this is what I want. Like, I don't like my job. I don't like marketing. I want to get paid more. I want more freedom. I want to be able to travel. Okay, well, this is how I'm going to do it. You showed up for yourself, and then it's blown up. Now you're earning double the amount of income, which is no doubt going to grow. You're coming to Bali in 2 weeks. So you're like coming over to somewhere where that makes your soul happy. You're doing something that makes your soul happy. So naturally, the money's going to flow. But the thing that holds many people back, what I've personally found through my journey, like I've been on my journey for 5 years now, so I've seen it all. I've seen people start, give up, like just not do the thing and whatever. And you mentioned like personal work, mindset work as well. Like that's a really big part of it too.
Massive.
I forgot where I was going to go. Fucking hell. Sorry. Don't you just hate it when that happens?
I have such a scattered brain, so I'll have like really I'll go deep into something that I'm like, I don't know where I'm going with this. But anyway.
It's like when you follow your heart, that's when the magic happens. But when we start following our hearts, it takes time. And like I personally do a lot of energy work. I'm very big into the laws of the universe, the law of attraction. Everything is energy. We're all energy. And typically when we are in an employee mindset, and when we don't work on our mindset is very much negative, thinking shit, putting ourselves down, which in turn makes us feel bad, which in turn manifests shit, which creates shit, puts shit into our field, and then we create a fucking shitstorm around us. So when we start wanting to go for everything that we want to go for and follow our heart, changing our mind, like firstly changes our life. But like as we're following our heart and changing our mind, part of our ego is like, what are you doing? I just want to stay in the comfortable, uncomfortable, even though I'm not happy. Just stay there. Don't do anything. Don't carry on. And like, you're like, I don't want to look like a dickhead. And then your heart's like, no, go for it. Do
Because, well, our ego is there to protect us. Our ego, really, why we react to things the way we do, and why our ego gets like affected, is because it's there to protect our feelings, it's there to protect our emotions and all that. So it's kind of understandable when it's doing that, but it is like I had to do a lot of work with that, especially when it came to, first of all, just putting my thoughts and opinions out there. It's really hard because people people will judge you, people are not going to agree with you, and so getting over that, it's a lot of work. You kind of just need to go, you know what, this is what I think, and that's fine, and not everyone's going to agree with it, and it's not a personal attack on me. Which is, I think, the hardest thing to usually understand for people, is that when someone says something bad to you or attacks you about something, it's usually not about you, it's about them.
Yes, it's always it's always about them, in my opinion, because if you've done the work and if you're happy in yourself, you're not going to pose judgment or be mean to someone else. Like you may have like thoughts, but like if you've done the work, you're not going to project that negativity and that thought onto other people, in my opinion. So it's always everything to do with them, and it's nothing to do with you.
Yeah, and then that was one of the big things that I had to deal with. And then the second one was the scarcity mindset, which I think most people have when it comes to money. There's not enough. You have to work like a horse to make any. I'm never gonna have enough. People are not gonna, all those thoughts. And obviously, as you said, like, I'm a big believer in energies, and sort of what you put out, you receive type of thing as well. And if you're constantly focusing on there's not enough money, no one's gonna pay me for it, no one cares, blah blah blah, that's sort of the type of energy you put out, and that's what you get back. And I really noticed that once I started working on my scarcity mindset about 7-8 months ago, like really trying to switch it and do all the work, I realized that there is enough. As I said, 8 billion people on earth, like half of them are, more than half of them are online, so
for sure. And like, if anyone can look this up on Google, the global wealth distribution, and there's like statistics, and I can't remember the numbers exactly, but it's something like 1.1% of the world's population own 45.8% of the world's wealth. And then there's 55 point something percent of the world's population own 1.9% of the world's wealth. So there's plenty, like, and then there's like 13% and I don't know the middle ones, but that there's a massive gap there. So it shows you how much wealth is in the world and how much money is in the world. Now, the reason that only 1.1% of people have all of this wealth is because they firstly know how to make money. They know how to make money work for them. They know how to keep money. But like the 55%, the only way they know how to make money is by trading their time for money. And then when they make the money that they've got, they spend it on shit that doesn't serve them. So they'd rather go and buy a car on finance that costs them 35 grand, that's going to depreciate as soon as it rolls off of the lot, rather than investing 2 grand into their own personal development. It fucking blows my mind. And then they wonder why they're so broke. They want to live a champagne lifestyle on like paupers' money, but they don't want to invest in the knowledge so they can learn how to make money and get over their scarcity mindset.
Yeah, because people are too concerned with what they look like on the outside. I know people who get into credit card debt to buy Michael Kors bags, and
that used to be me. Not so much that, but like I loved my Tiffany like bracelets, going on holiday and like eating at Nando's. Like I literally got into 32 grand's worth of debt with my ex-partner by us just living a champagne lifestyle on paupers things. I was one of them. So I get that.
And it's just like, and I look at that and I'm like, but why what is that 2,000 pound stupid bag? What is it going to give you?
It's the external validation. That's what
Yeah,
it is. They
yeah,
don't
yeah.
love
No, of
themselves
course.
enough, so they want to look good. That's all it is.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, but why? Why do this? Um, so yeah, I've just there's definitely a lot of mindset work that is involved, and just getting out of comfort zone as well. Like that, I've done so much so many different things this year that I would have never imagined myself doing, like going to networking events that where I don't know anyone. I'm an introvert. I hate talking to people. I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm good being on my own, especially if it's like people who you don't know, and you don't know if you have any common interests or anything. You don't know how the whole small talk thing is really hard for me. I can't do it. I'm the type of person who wants to go in deep and talk about deep subjects and the universe and energies and
Did you tell me once
health.
that you was a Scorpio?
No, I'm a Virgo.
Where did I the fuck get Scorpio from? I'm so sorry. It's like I heard something. There's two things I've got wrong on this chat. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and someone said about like loving to go deep as a Scorpio, and my Scorpio's rising, so that's why that's come up. But Virgo makes sense. But yeah, I'm the same with the depth and the shallow talk. I just can't deal with. I can't.
Yeah, I don't care how many fucking shots you had on Saturday. I don't care what club you went to. I don't care about your bottomless brunch that you had on Sunday. Like, I want to have a real conversation. Obviously, I can have small talk and a bit of gossip or whatever. I am only human, but when the conversation only consists of that, and especially when you're in an office environment and you have to have that conversation with 30 people in a day on a Monday, shoot me. I can't, like, just no.
What do you like to talk about? What kind of stuff do you like to talk about?
I the universe. I love talking about business. I love talking about personal development. Mental health is a big one because I have depression and mild anxiety and all those type of things. So that's all like a very personal subject for me, and I love talking about it. And I think we don't talk about it enough, and there's still so much stigma around the whole thing. Like, even with myself, when I got on antidepressants back in 2017, I was so fucking embarrassed about it. I was just like, I didn't tell anyone. I hid it. I almost felt like it's some nasty STD kind of thing. You can't tell anyone. It's gross. It's horrible. Blah blah blah. And then the more I sort of started doing the personal work and just kind of dealing with my mental health and everything, I kind of realized that actually, no, this is not a bad thing. It's just, why am I acting like it's wrong or weird or whatever? Like, people have diabetes and they take a pill for it, or an injection, depending on whatever type or whatever, how severe it is. They take a pill a day or injection a day, and that's it. They're fine. They live their lives. It helps them live a better, happier, healthier life. And the same is with me. I have depression. I take a pill a day, and it makes me feel better. It makes me feel happier. I finally feel like life isn't shit, and like the world isn't on my shoulders, and I'm like, why am I acting like taking a pill for one thing is fine and there's nothing wrong with it, and then taking a pill for other thing is sort of an embarrassing, horrible thing that I need to hide. So I got over that mindset, and it just really helped me sort of keep growing and developing myself and becoming better. And then I started really getting into the whole personal development sort of thing, reading the books, and during COVID I started meditating and journaling, and like I wrote out I would need to find it, but I have a diary somewhere where I wrote that I want to work for myself. I want to be a successful graphic designer. I want to go traveling. I want to go to Bali. Wrote all that out about probably a year and a half ago in like a diary, and now it's happening. Like, end of October, I'm doing the thing that I've wrote about, that I sort of dreamt up for me and put out there in the universe. And that is all thanks to all the personal development and all the work that I've done and all the books that I've read and all the all the issues that I have dealt with in my own head and gotten over. And so yeah, it's those are the type of things that I loved talking about and
Yeah.
discussing and going deep into, and I don't know, talking about people's backgrounds and where they came from and how they became who they are. And you know, your child, tell me about your childhood trauma. I want to know about your childhood trauma. You know, all that. That's the sort of topics that I want to talk about, not the bottomless brunch or the manicure or pedicure you got at the weekend.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And unfortunately, a lot of the times people are like running away from their childhood trauma and they're not really looking at how powerful their story is and where they've come from and how powerful their pain is, and like running towards their pain to find their power, which, you know, it's not the majority's fault, because quite frankly, we're not taught the mindset, we're not taught the self-love, we're not taught the self-validation. Fortunately, a lot of people are waking up though, which is great. You being one of them. So I'm very, very grateful that you are a part of the solution for sure. And I completely agree with you that mental health and wellness overall, just like everything about health, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, all needs to be addressed and looked at. Like we all need to put in the work to make things happen for ourselves and not expect things to fall on our lap. And when we actually do that, then that's when the magic happens. And it might not feel like magic in the moment, but then when we look back a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, we're like, oh my God, like, look how far I've come. This is absolutely magical. I'm a magical being. This is amazing.
Absolutely. Like back in 2017, I was so miserable. I was so unhappy. I was so depressed. You know, I couldn't keep a job because of the depression. I like, my go-to emotion is anger. So I go directly to anger when I'm upset and if things don't go my way. And it was blown up, the whole anger, and I wasn't able to control my emotions like at all because of depression, because I wasn't like doing anything about it. So I was struggling to actually hold a job because everything would just like blow, like the smallest thing would just blow me up. And that's when I kind of realized, I need to do something about this, because I don't want to live like this, and it's not getting me anywhere, it's not serving me. So I went to NHS, got my pills, got sorted, things started to get better. My outlook on life started getting better. Things in my life started getting better. You know, about a year in, after I started taking my medication and all that sort of stuff calmed down, that's when I got the promotion to the marketing role. And then things it just snowballed from there. The more I worked on myself and the more I dealt with my inner world and my inner demons, and the more I sort of addressed my childhood traumas and issues, and just kind of the more I accepted who I am as a person, the better things got for me, the nicer and better people I attracted, and the more my life changed for the best. So it all started on the inside, like the work, and it took time, and it was fucking hard. I didn't want to read all the books about, I don't know, toxic relationships and whatever. I can't, my brain just died. I forgot words. But you know the type of books I'm talking about, personal development that help you deal with your issues and attachments and childhood traumas and all that. When I first started, I didn't want to read those things. I was like, I better want to watch fucking Netflix. But at the same time, I was like, I want to be better. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to live like this. I want to be happy. I don't want to get out of bed every day and hate myself and hate my life and just feel miserable. And yeah, the work was hard. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it, because during that inner work changed my outer world for the better. So.
Yeah. And like it's true that your outer world is a direct reflection of your inner world. So if you're finding that your outer world is a pile of shit, then it's definitely something that you need to be looking on the inside. And it was the same with me as well. Like when I started my journey, I was depressed, I was anxious. I was also 3 dress sizes bigger as well. So I was literally like unhealthy in every single aspect. And like, fortunately, I didn't need to go on medication with my depression. Like my mum, when I was like 14, she was like, no, she's not going on medication. We're not putting her on medication. So I ended up finding ways throughout, because I've struggled with depression from about the age of 14 because of bullying and stuff. But I've just seemed to be able to kind of work through it, and kind of, I ended up self-medicating through drink and drugs. So I guess that was my kind of medication. But for me personally, like I found through my journey, like with the personal development books, when I first started my online business journey, my mentor said, if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, you need to work on your mindset and you need to do personal development. And that's the only reason why I started, because I wanted to be successful and I wanted to change my life, and I was determined to change things for myself. But before then, I literally, if I'd look at a personal development book and I would turn my nose up at it, I don't need that. I'm fine how I am. I don't need to learn. I was depressed, anxious, living for the weekends and on drink and drugs, and so fucking unhappy. But then once I started to actually work on myself and do that personal development work, like work on, like understand relationships, understand communication, like learn about emotional intelligence, like learn about my own sense of spirituality, that's how I personally lifted myself out of my depression and my anxiety. And of course, I still get those feelings sometimes, but I don't allow myself to well in them. And I've got like tools and resources where I can move through the emotion because of everything that I've learned. So I'm curious, in respects to like you and your journey, what have you found has been the most sort of pinnacle thing, or if you can think of 3 things maybe that have helped you on your journey of mental wellness and like mental health?
So one of the, through my mid to late 20s, before I sort of got onto the pills and started working on myself, one of the main things that got me through the day was exercise. So I dated someone in my early 20s who was like he loved the gyms, he was always training, very fit. So he kind of pulled me into that, because I used to be like, I hated exercise, don't want to move. Like the physical education classes, I always found a reason why not to go, always pretended I had a period or something.
It's so similar.
And then he got me into the gym and I fell in love with it, and that was sort of my, I think, saving grace for a very long time. That got me through some dark times, but it also wasn't enough. Like the main thing, the best thing that I've done for myself is accepting that I need help, that I can't cope on my own, that I have problems, and going to a doctor and getting my pills. That's the best. Since that day, my life has completely changed. It's taken time, but my life has completely done like a complete overturn. So that's probably, the pills is the main thing. The second thing is exercise. And then third thing, I don't even know, just the need and want to be better and do better. I think reading has helped me a lot. Like I've read a lot of books. And especially during COVID, all I did was read and play computer games. So I think reading and actually opening myself up to different mindsets and different outlooks on life and on things and on how to deal with issues and mental health, and just kind of just being open and reading and taking in as much information as I can. Kind of, those are probably the three things that I can sort of think of from the top of my head that have really helped me to deal with it, and also talking about it, to be honest. I think just being able to talk about it and let it all out and not hide from it and accept that, yes, I have this problem, but it doesn't, I can still live a good life and still be productive and still be successful. I just need tools that help me manage my condition, because my depression is an illness like any other illness. So I just need to find, I had to find the right tools to help me manage it. And yeah, that was a big thing as well.
Amazing. Fantastic. And I love how you said, by the way, if you can hear my dog barking in the background, I do apologize. She's seen a cat somewhere and she's barking. But yeah, I love how you mentioned just talking about it has been a major release, because from like everything that I've personally learned about emotions and energy, like depression is simply an emotion, and we can choose to give our power to the emotion of depression, to the emotion of like the sadness and the anger and the frustration. We can choose to give our power to that, or we can choose to find different tools that allow us to move through it and to release it. And like, the important thing is to understand what works for us as an individual, because we're all very different. Like talking has certainly helped me on my journey, like through my whole journey of building my own personal brand. I've shared my story. I've shared what I've gone through from a place of like introspection. So it's not like I've like bled and not put a plaster on. I describe it as like bleeding and then putting a plaster on it to help people on their journey in how I've ended up helping myself. And that's really helped me on my journey of healing, is releasing it in that sense. And also like dancing for me, like feeling into, okay, so where is the emotion in my body? Where can I feel this emotion? Because like when I get anxious, for instance, I feel the emotion here, but I can also feel the emotion like in my neck and in my shoulders. So I'll intentionally like put music on and just like move around like if you was to see me, I'd look like really weird, but I'm like really listening to my body and what my body needs in respects to the way that my body needs to move. And if we don't release that emotion, that's when it gets stuck in our body, and that's when it gets bad and bad and bad, and we end up like in this big old pool bubble of like anxiety or depression or whatever.
Absolutely. Like it's suppressing your emotions and feelings can cause you a lot of issues when it comes to your mental health. It can cause physical problems. You know, I'm pretty sure I've read somewhere there's been studies done, it can actually cause you heart problems, and it can even cause, I think, even some sort of cancer and whatnot. So it's actually very, very bad for you, and especially people who repress their childhood trauma and things that have happened to them, and they don't deal with it and don't accept it and don't process it. It shows.
And
it shows, and it starts taking effect on you.
It really, really does. And like it's been proven in science that like if we don't deal with our emotions and if we suppress our negative emotions, it does manifest either mentally, physically, or emotionally. So it's really important that we learn how to feel our emotions, especially without putting a story to it. And like, I mean, I've seen it firsthand in my life. Like my aunt, bless her heart, bless her soul, she struggled with depression for the majority of her life, and she hid her identity. She was a lesbian. She hid her identity from her family and basically ostracized herself. And in 2019, she died of cancer. She had cancer riddled all over her body, and it was a very quick death. And I truly believe it was because of the fact that she just repressed her true identity from her family. She repressed herself, her identity. And this is what people really need to realize and understand when it comes to their health, that our mental health is so very important. And I could really go so deep into this, and I know we could have such a good conversation, and I really, really want to Oh yes, definitely. Like we can do an in-person conscious conversation. That is definitely on the agenda. Let's do it. Let's do
Oh,
it.
oh,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
but yeah, like we're getting up to the hour, and I'm really mindful of your time. I really respect your time. But Jane, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Like, really appreciate you being here. Where can everyone find you? So if you want graphic design, if you what's your tagline on LinkedIn? What does it say? I design epic content for exciting brands. So if you want epic content for your exciting brands,
Yeah.
where can they find you?
LinkedIn is probably the best place because that's the only platform I'm really active on. So if you just search Jane
I'll put your link there.
Kisnica, yeah,
Yeah.
if you put the link in the comments, or my website, which is contentbyjane.com, those are the two best places to reach out to me.
Okay, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Jane's links below as well, so you can easily get to them. If our conversation has sparked something within you and you're like, you know what, I'd really love to start an online business, but I don't know what to do when it comes to freelancing, I can help you. I actually help people start their own online businesses. So you can reach out to me and I can give you information in respects to how I can help you. If it aligns, great. If it doesn't align, that's also absolutely fine. And if you want help with your mindset, your mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health, I'm also an expansion coach as well. So I can help you with that too. So yeah, there's help all around, darlings. You just need to reach
Sounds
out and
good.
ask for help. But yeah, Jane, thank you so much. I'm so excited to post this.
I'm excited for reactions from people. I hope they're going to love it. But thank you so much for having me. I could literally talk about this topic for hours. So I'm
You'll
very
be back.
excited.
You'll be back. I would absolutely love to have you back.
Absolutely. I would too. Absolutely.
Amazing. Goodbye, guys. Have a great day.